There is a legend that when Golda Meir met Nixon, I think it was Nixon or somebody, he tried to brag to show how important he is. He said, listen, I'm a president over 250 million citizens. So Golda Meir said, that's no big deal. I'm a prime minister over 3 million prime ministers. So those knows, Israelis or Jews in general, we all have a lot of opinions. So this didn't just start in our generation, but this goes back to the beginning when we became a nation. When did we become a nation? When we left Egypt, which we're reading about now in the Torah. And as soon as we left Egypt, we find the Jewish people had different opinions. The Medrash tells us that in this week's Torah portion talks about one of the most challenging times in Jewish history, especially for the beginning. The Jews left Egypt after being slaves for hundreds of years, especially the last 86 years. And they left Egypt just after a few days. And they came to the water, the Yam Suf. And they had the Egyptians behind them that were chasing them to kill them, and they had the water in front of them. And they were in panic. They didn't know what to do. So it wasn't just one opinion or two opinions. There were 4 different opinions what they should do. The Medrash tells us that one group of Jews says, you know what? Life in Egypt wasn't as bad as dying. Let's go back to Egypt and continue with the way we lived our life before. At least we had, 3 hots and a flop, a bed and food. Another group said, absolutely not. We're not going to go to Egypt. We're going to let the Egyptians come. And we're going to fight the war. And we're going to fight. Even if we die, we're going to fight. A third group said, no, we're going to jump into the water and we're going to drown. A fourth group said, oh, let's pray to God. So Moses is the leader. He doesn't know what to do. So he asked God, which one is right? He said, they're all right and they're all wrong. There is a time and place for war. There is a time and place sometimes for submission. There is a time and place sometimes for prayer. But now is none of the above. You need to move forward and go to Mount Sinai, because I told you the reason why you're leaving Egypt is in order to get to Torah and Mount Sinai. So you need to move forward. Everything in the Torah is a lesson for us in life. One of the greatest challenges in our life is when we're not sure about something. It says there's nothing as happy as when you could overcome something that you have doubts about. When you have doubts, should I buy, should I sell? Should I let my kids go, not let my kids go? Should I marry this person? Should I divorce this person? Should I buy this company, sell the company? Should I deal with this challenge or not deal with this challenge? Especially when it comes to something, a big challenge in life, we don't know what to do. Which way should we go? So the Torah portion is teaching us a very important lesson in life. There's a lot of times when a person asks, what does Judaism have to say about it? What does the Torah say about this? So you may ask, what does the Torah have? Torah talks about keeping kosher. The Torah keeps about keeping Yom Kippur, Pesach. What does Torah have to do with our life? But the truth is, the Torah is the guide of life. And the Torah has a Torah perspective of how we deal with a certain challenge. And a lot of times, the answer is just move forward. Keep going and fulfilling your mission in life, and everything else will work itself out. That's the most important thing. So when you're standing in the road, and you're not sure if you should go back, forward, right, left, pray. Of course, there's a time to pray. But once you go pray, you got to put on the boots, and you got to move forward. And where do we find the messages of what we're supposed to do in our life? A lot of times you look at Judaism's perspective, Torah's perspective of how we should handle such a situation. And then we just move forward and things will work itself out. And that is something that can give us great strength when we go through a challenge in life, to know that if we're doing the right thing, if this is the right perspective, if it's based on moral and ethics and our tradition, then just go forward and you will be successful. It's going to work itself out. The hardest thing is when we just sit back and we don't do anything about it. Rabbi Lau, the former chief rabbi of Israel, met the Lubavitcher Rebbe after the Yom Kippur War. And the Rebbe asked him, what's the mood in Israel? So he said, the mood in Israel is, oy, was geht sein? What's going to be? So the Rebbe told him, a Yid sagt nicht, was geht sein. A Yid sagt, was geht metan. A Jew doesn't say, oy, what's going to be? A Jew says, so what are we going to do about it? That's what we get the strength from this week's Torah portion. we move forward in our life, keep on going. Don't stop your mission. Once you know this is your mission, this is your purpose, once you know this is the right thing to do for your children, the right thing to do for your family, the right thing to do for your business, based on what's morally and ethical and based on our tradition, then just move forward. Do a little prayer, move forward, and you'll see that the sea will split for you to get to your promised land, to get to your Mount Sinai, to fulfill your mission and your purpose with God's strength and God's blessing. Shabbat Shalom.